There is a village, quiet and still, surrounded by forests and fields. It's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone else and nothing unusual ever happens. Or so it seems. But every night as the clock strikes midnight, a bell rings. It doesn't matter if it's foggy or clear, hot or cold. The bell sounds, echoing through the dark streets. People used to say it was just the old church bell, nothing more. But those who live in the village know better. You see, the bell doesn't just tell time. It's not just a mark of another hour passing. No, this bell calls. The bell rings, and with every chime, something strange happens. Someone disappears. No one knows where. No one knows why. And tonight the bell rings once more. The village is quiet, bathed in the soft glow of the moon. Inside the church, the bell's deep tolls roll like thunder, vibrating through the very walls. But there's no one inside. No one ever stays in the church after the bell rings. Not after what happened years ago. The bell isn't just a sound. It's a sign. A warning, perhaps. Or a curse. And tonight the bell will ring and someone will be chosen. You see, the bell doesn't forget. Once you hear it, you're already marked. As the tolls echo louder, an old man, his face lined with years of wisdom and fear, sits in his home trembling. He knows the truth. And his time is coming. He's heard the bell too many times, and each time it took someone from his life. A neighbor. A friend. A family member. Each time the bell took them away without a trace, without a sound. He tries to ignore it. He tells himself, it's just a bell. Just a bell. But deep inside he knows it's more than that. He's not sure who or what the bell calls, but he knows it's not something you can ignore. You never ignore the bell. Then, as if the world has decided to hold its breath, there is silence. The bell stops ringing. The man sits up straight, his heart hammering in his chest. The silence is unnatural. Feels wrong, like the calm before a storm. The silence stretches longer and longer until the man can't take it anymore. He stands, his legs shaky, his body heavy with dread. And just as quickly as it began, the bell tolls once more. But this time it's not the old, familiar ring. No, this bell, it sounds different. It's sharper, more insistent. The man's eyes widen and he stumbles back in terror. The bell is not just calling. It's coming closer. Out of the corner of his eye, the man sees it. A shadow moving through the fog outside his window. It's faint at first, like a wisp of smoke, but then it grows, twisting and turning, growing larger until it is unmistakable. The man feels his breath catch in his throat. He knows this figure. He's seen it before. In the corners of his mind, in his nightmares. But this time it's real. The shadow steps closer to his door. The man can't move. He's frozen. His eyes are wide, his hands shaking. And then, in a voice as soft as the wind, the figure speaks. The bell calls for you. The man tries to scream, but no sound comes. He reaches for the door, his hand trembling, but it's too late. The figure is already inside. The figure steps inside the man's house, its shape still obscured by the thick fog outside. It stands still, almost as if it's waiting. The room is cold now, colder than it should be, even though the fire in the hearth is crackling. The man's breath fogs up in the air as he stares at the figure. He knows he should run, but his legs betray him, stiff and unwilling to move. His eyes are locked on the shadow as it starts to move toward him. With every step it takes, the air grows heavier, thick with something the man can't explain. The bell outside tolls again, but this time it's a distant sound, like it's coming from somewhere far away. Yet the figure doesn't seem affected by it. It doesn't stop its slow advance. The man can feel the coldness spreading through the room, his skin prickling with every passing second. The air around him feels charged, as if something is about to snap. The figure's face is hidden in darkness, but the eyes shine with an unnatural light, reflecting the faint glow from the hearth. They're not human eyes. They're the eyes of something ancient. And then it speaks again, its voice low and almost soothing, like a lullaby laced with poison. You've heard the bell, haven't you? The man opens his mouth to respond, but no words come out. Fear has taken his voice. You've heard it call, and now it's your turn, the figure continues. Its voice lingers in the man's ears, like an echo that won't fade. The room grows darker still, and for a moment, everything feels suspended in time. The man's heart races in his chest as he watches the figure raise a hand. The fingers are long, too long, and unnaturally pale. The man feels his body respond, every muscle tensing, his instincts screaming at him to run. But his feet are still glued to the floor, as if something is holding him in place, preventing escape. "You can't hide from the bell," the figure whispers. "It knows where you are. It knows who you are." The words hit him like a punch. It's true, he realizes. The bell has never failed. It calls, and the chosen answer. The man's mind races, his thoughts a chaotic whirl of panic. He's heard the bell for years, always in the back of his mind. But now it's real. It's here. It's taking him. The man's eyes dart around the room, seeking any escape. The door is too far, the window too small. And the figure, it stands between him and his only way out. There's no escape from it. Suddenly, the figure's mouth opens, revealing a row of jagged, uneven teeth. The smile it gives is cold, like it knows the man's every fear. "You could try to run," it muses. "But the bell will always find you. It's always watching." The man's breath hitches. His heart is pounding so hard he feels like it might explode. What does the figure mean? Watching? How could the bell, how could it, be watching him? The figure takes another step forward, its eyes glowing brighter now, more intense. "You've heard the bell," it repeats, and the man knows deep down that it isn't just the bell that has called him. Something more. Something older. Something that has been waiting for him. "You're not the first to hear it," the figure says, and for a split second the man feels a flicker of hope. Maybe there's a chance. Maybe others have escaped. Maybe. But the figure cuts off his thoughts, its voice sharp, like the snap of a twig in the cold night air. No one escapes. The bell tolls again, louder this time, like it's shaking the very earth beneath their feet. The man's mind spins with terror. He wants to scream, to do something, anything, but he's paralyzed. And then, without warning, the figure reaches out, its cold fingers brushing against his skin. The touch sends a shock of icy terror straight through him. It's as though his very soul is being touched by something ancient, something that has no place in this world. "You will come with me," the figure says softly, its words final. "You will follow the bell." The man feels a strange compulsion, something beyond fear, pulling him toward the figure, toward the darkness. His body moves against his will, his legs lifting, taking a step toward it, then another, until he's standing in front of the figure. The air around him thickens and the world seems to blur. He can no longer tell what's real. Is this happening? Is he awake? The bell tolls again. And then a voice whispers from the deepest part of his mind, one that he can't ignore. There is no escape. The figure steps back, its shadow stretching impossibly long across the floor. And then, with a sudden motion, it gestures toward the door, which is now open. Open to the endless dark beyond. The door looms before him, its frame stretching like a mouth waiting to swallow him whole. The man's body shakes, but his legs move as though an unseen force is guiding him. The figure still standing behind him does not make a sound. It watches, silent and waiting, as the man steps closer to the threshold. The air outside is darker than night itself. A chill, colder than anything he's ever felt, wraps itself around him as he crosses the threshold. His senses sharpen in the cold, his breath coming out in quick, ragged gasps. And yet the bell, tolls again, and the sound makes the world feel even colder, even darker. Behind him, the door slams shut with a deafening finality. He is now standing at the edge of something he cannot comprehend, the very air around him seeming to hum with an unnatural energy. The bell continues to toll, its deep vibrations shaking the very ground beneath his feet. It feels as though time itself is bending around him. The man looks around, his eyes wide, searching for anything familiar. But there is nothing. The world around him is empty. Nothing but a vast, endless void stretching into oblivion. The ground beneath his feet is solid, but it feels wrong. Like it's made of something otherworldly, something that doesn't belong in reality. Then a sound breaks the stillness. It's a whisper at first, barely audible, but growing louder with each passing second. He turns quickly, his heart hammering in his chest, but there's nothing there. No one. No figure. No guide. Yet the whisper grows into a voice, clear and unmistakable. Comes from all around him. It's not human, it's not even of this world. It feels like the voice of the bell itself speaking through the air. You are not alone. The words hit him like a physical blow. He turns around again, searching desperately for the source of the voice, but there is only darkness. The bell tolls once more, but this time the sound is closer. It's as though it's right behind him. The man's pulse quickens. He wants to scream, to cry out, but the words catch in his throat. He feels a hand, cold and thin, slide over his shoulder from behind. It's not the figure. No. Something else, something that moves like smoke, like a shadow. The whisper grows louder still. "Where are you going?" the voice murmurs, its tone a dark, mocking whisper. "You've already crossed the line." The man stumbles forward, his steps erratic, his feet unable to find purchase in the darkness. He wants to run, but he doesn't know where to run to. The air around him is thick with a pressure that makes it impossible to think clearly, to make decisions. His mind is swirling, and every instinct tells him to get away, to find safety, to escape this nightmare. But where? The figure appears again, standing motionless just ahead of him. Its eyes, those strange glowing eyes, lock onto his. The man's legs feel like they've turned to stone. He cannot move, cannot breathe, cannot think beyond the haunting pull of those eyes. The figure steps forward, its long, thin fingers outstretched. But just as it reaches for him, a voice, one that is not the figure's, whispers in his ear. It's the bell again. "You will never escape." The unseen force. Suddenly, the world around him shifts. The air grows even colder, and the ground beneath his feet seems to dissolve, leaving him standing on nothing. His body feels weightless. The bell tolls again, this time in a chaotic staccato rhythm, as though something is breaking, shattering inside the very world he inhabits. The figure's face is now visible, its eyes gleaming like burning embers. Its lips curl into a twisted smile, but there is no joy, no satisfaction. There is only an ancient, endless hunger. "You cannot fight what has been called," it says, its voice calm and final like a sentence. Once the bell has tolled, it chooses. The man's mind screams for clarity, for some way out. He tries to run again, but his feet are no longer on solid ground. He's falling into an abyss that stretches out endlessly before him. His heart races faster than he thought possible, and the bell keeps tolling louder and louder. It's drowning him in sound. Drowning him in the terror that grows with every passing second. And then a flicker. A light. It's faint, just a small glimmer far below, but it's enough to make the man pause. His eyes lock on it, the only point of hope in this nightmare. His instincts scream at him to reach for it, to try, to fight, to survive. But the bell tolls again, and this time the darkness closes in. The light fades. It is too late. The man is lost, swallowed by the endless void, and the bell continues to toll louder and louder. The man's breath quickens, panic creeping into his chest. He knows he has to move, has to escape, but every instinct tells him that running will do no good. The darkness, the endless void, seems to stretch on without end, swallowing up every trace of light. As he stumbles forward, he hears something faint, a whisper barely audible over the deafening silence. It's a voice, but not the figure's. This voice is softer, more delicate, like a memory trying to break free from the grasp of time. For a moment he almost thinks it's his own voice, whispering something long forgotten. But no. This voice is foreign, a reminder of something much older, something far more dangerous than he ever realized. The ground beneath him shifts again, and the bell tolls once more, reverberating through the space with an urgency he can feel in his bones. It's getting closer. But from where? It's as if the bell is coming from inside his head, filling every crevice of his mind with its horrific sound. He tries to look around, his eyes straining in the pitch-black darkness. Nothing. Just the same oppressive nothingness. But then, for the briefest of moments, he sees something. A flicker. A movement. A figure. He turns, his heart hammering in his chest, but before he can make sense of what he saw, it's gone. A trick of the mind. Or is it? As the silence presses in, the voice returns, this time clearer, more insistent. "You know what must be done." The words echo not just in the air around him but inside his skull, twisting his thoughts. It feels as though the very fabric of reality is cracking, breaking apart at the seams. The man takes a step back, confusion and terror warring inside him. "I don't understand," he whispers, his voice shaking. "What do you want from me?" The voice doesn't respond immediately. Instead, the bell tolls again, but this time the sound shifts. It warps, becoming deeper, more guttural. Something about it feels wrong, unnatural. It's not just a sound anymore. It's something alive. A force that bends the world itself to its will. His pulse quickens, the oppressive weight of the darkness closing in on him. The bell's tolls are relentless, each one louder and more insistent than the last. The air feels thick with tension, the kind of tension that makes it hard to breathe, as if the very atmosphere is alive and watching him. And then the ground beneath him gives way, cracking open like dry earth beneath a storm. The man yelps, stumbling forward, but the ground is gone. He's falling into a deep, endless pit. He can't even scream as he tumbles into the void. The world spins around him, disorienting and dizzying. He feels weightless, like he's floating in the middle of nowhere. His stomach lurches and he instinctively reaches for anything to grab onto. But there's nothing. Only the endless descent and the sound of the bell tolling louder now, as if it's drawing him further into its grasp. And then as suddenly as it began, the fall stops. He slams into something solid. Pain shoots through his body, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is that he's not falling anymore. The ground is rough beneath him, jagged and cold. He looks up and that's when he sees it. The figure is standing before him once more. But this time there is no malice in its eyes. Only pity. "You didn't listen," the figure says, its voice almost sympathetic. "You should have stayed away." The man's heart hammers in his chest. "What are you talking about? What do you want from me?" he demands, his voice filled with desperation. The figure doesn't respond right away. Instead, it reaches into the air, pulling something from the nothingness. Something solid, something that almost feels like a reflection of the man's own mind. It's a book, old and tattered, its pages worn with age. The cover is embossed with strange symbols, none of which the man can recognize. "This," the figure murmurs, holding it out to him. "This is your fate. You should have known better than to seek the bell." It's not just a warning. It's a sentence. The man recoils, instinctively pulling away. "I don't want it," he cries, but the figure doesn't relent. Instead, it thrusts the book into his hands. "This is your only way out," the figure says, its voice cold. "But be warned. Once you open it, there's no turning back." The man stares at the book, dread welling up inside him. He doesn't want to open it. He doesn't want to face whatever dark secret it holds. But somehow he knows he has no choice. The tolling of the bell in the distance seems to mock him, a reminder of how little control he has left over his own fate. The man's body is numb, his mind consumed by the relentless tolling of the bell. The world around him is a blur of blackness, stretching out endlessly in every direction. The darkness presses in on him, suffocating him with its cold, oppressive weight. His breath comes in shallow gasps, but no matter how hard he tries to scream, no sound escapes his lips. Then a coldness, far colder than anything he's ever felt, seizes his heart. It's as though something is trying to pull him deeper, pulling him into the abyss with an invisible force. He looks around, frantic, but there is nothing. No figure. No path. No escape. The bell tolls again, closer now, unbearably close. Each clang of the bell feels like a hammer striking his very soul, shaking him to his core. His body trembles, not from the cold, but from the overwhelming, unrelenting dread that consumes him. But through the terror, one thought pierces through. It's not just the bell. It's the promise. The promise of the bell, the ancient warning that once it begins, it cannot be stopped. Once it has chosen, there is no turning back. And as the man stands on the edge of the void, that promise seems more real than ever. Suddenly the bell stops tolling. The silence that follows is deafening. The man freezes, not knowing whether the silence is a blessing or a curse. He closes his eyes, trying to gather what little strength he has left. His heart is still racing, his body frozen in place. Then, as if the very fabric of reality is being torn open, a voice echoes through the emptiness. It's not the voice of the figure this time, but a deep, resonant hum that vibrates in his bones. "You were always meant to be here," the voice murmurs, its tone both soothing and terrifying. It's a voice that has no face, no body. It seems to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. The man's eyes snap open, his pupils dilating as he tries to comprehend what he's hearing. "What do you mean?" he whispers, though he isn't sure who he's asking. "There's no one here." "The bell tolls for all who are lost," the voice replies, its words slow and deliberate like the ticking of a clock. "You sought answers. You sought meaning. But now you will become the answer. You will become the bell." The weight of those words hits him like a physical blow. His knees buckle and he falls to the ground, though he can't feel the impact. His mind races as the truth sinks in. The bell wasn't just a warning. It was a choice. A choice made long before he ever entered this place. A choice that was never his to begin with. As the man kneels, the darkness around him begins to change. It shifts, taking shape, becoming something more tangible. It's as if the void is alive, breathing, and the very air is thick with a presence. The figure reappears, but this time, its eyes glow brighter, more intensely. "Do you understand now?" the figure asks, its voice laced with a hint of amusement, as though it is enjoying this moment of revelation. The man can only nod, his throat dry, his mind reeling. He is not just a victim of the bell. He is part of it. He is a part of this place. The bell has called him, has chosen him, and now it is too late for anything to change. The figure steps forward, its long, cold fingers brushing against the man's skin, and for the first time the man feels something other than fear. It's a strange sensation, almost like acceptance. The darkness isn't just a punishment, it's a transformation. "You belong here now," the figure whispers. And as the man's mind begins to unravel under the weight of the truth, the bell tolls again. But this time it tolls for him. The man feels himself being pulled, his body lifting from the ground as the bell tolls one last time, louder than ever before. The sound resonates through his very soul, shaking him to the core, and he feels himself slipping away. He is being drawn into the abyss, into the darkness that now feels like home. And then with a final toll, the world goes silent. The bell is no more. The man is gone.